Okay, so I'm continuing this crazy roadshow that I'm on, and I've popped in to visit another witness who's been a member of Tagawa for what, 5 years now, you reckon? Have to be close, I reckon, 5 years. Tracey. And Tracey's been a contributor to Tagawa in more than one or two ways over the years, and found different bits of info that she's passed on to me from her local area. And you've also had a couple of encounters yourself, yeah?
Yes.
How long you lived in this area?
20 years.
20 years, okay. And you've worked on farms for most of that time, haven't you?
Yeah, or tree work, up high in trees.
Okay, so you did arbour work as well?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, cool. So tell me about your first sighting. Tell me, because I remember you were working dairy or something then, weren't you?
Yes, I was on a dairy goat farm.
Okay.
In Childers.
Yep.
At the back of Thorpedale, so Allenby Ranges, but it's since been renamed to the Childers Plantation, I've discovered. And yeah, I was leaving it's a quick story, I was leaving my driveway one day to go from our farm to the next farm to help with something.
Yeah.
And I was in a little ute, and there was a high bank one side, which is our property, and then dropped off the road and then dropped off down the bank the other side. And so I was actually in second gear, and I just booted it to get into third gear, and all of a sudden something jumped off the bank, which I caught out the side of my eye, so you know, marsupials everywhere. I hit the skids.
Yeah.
And it stopped right in front of my ute, and we just eyeballed one another, like proper. There was nothing else it could have been. It stood there and looked at me, big long head. The body was not very visible in front of the ute with the bull bar, because it was actually right in front. I could have run the bloody thing over. Like,
yeah, right.
It's just instinct that made you hit the brakes, and I did. I skid to it because it stopped at the same time. And then I was just, I don't know, goddamn chin must have been on the steering wheel. I was just, what the hell is this? Anyway, it just slowly looked away from me, and it went to the passenger side of the ute. Then I watched, that's when I actually had full view, and it was as it walked to the side of the road and then down the embankment, I watched it go the whole way and that's when I saw what it was.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was mental. And I actually sat there on the road just going, basically, WTH.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that was it. And yeah, never saw it again.
Okay. What year was this?
Would have been 94.
Okay.
About 94.
And it was in winter time?
It wasn't. It was warm, because
Okay.
I didn't have many clothes on. I was in singlet, I think, so it would have
Okay.
been summer. But I was always running around hot. But it wasn't winter.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah.
How far inland is this place from the coast?
Well, we're probably the closest coast here, so it'd only be about 35 minutes from here.
Okay, yep.
35, 40 minutes.
And when I mean, obviously it was daytime, but it was early morning, wasn't it? Or
It must have been before lunchtime.
okay, so it was pretty warm, and
Yeah.
you were just heading out.
Yeah.
What colour? Do you remember what colour it was?
It was brown.
Like that.
It was brown, like a Rhodesian Ridgebacky brown.
Okay, so it's
And, you know, so that colour.
Yeah.
And big stripes down its back end,
yeah,
tail. But it's really, the thing I remember most are the eyes and the head. Just because that's what it was looking straight into my damn soul, basically. It was just insane. That's why I can't forget it, because of that. And then, yeah. But to just the gait of it as well, and the sloping haunches, and it went so slow. It had no fear.
yeah.
That blew me away. Just the no fear. Just the way it slunk off.
Yep. And went into a paddock or something, did it?
No, I went down the side of the bank, all bush.
Yeah.
Not thick bush. I could see it go
Into the bush and walk
and
off.
down, and then I saw it when it got to the bottom and peeled off, and then it disappeared under the bracken.
Okay.
Kind of thing. And that was it. And yeah, trippy, eh?
How big do you reckon it was roughly?
Labrador size.
Yep.
I had a shepherd at the time, and that was what blew me out as well, because it came actually down from the back of my unit, which was up on that bank.
Okay.
And that was probably the first thing I thought was, shit, my dog. And because it was a dog.
Yeah.
And my shepherd was a big boy. He was about 65 kilo.
Yeah.
And it was not as big as him.
Yeah. Okay. So it would have been maybe about 40.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So.
And you said about the head. What was it about the head that grabbed your attention?
Because it was so weird. It was not like anything that you'd seen. It wasn't like a dog's head. It was just long, and the eyes, those dark eyes.
Like black eyes.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Satan looking at me. But no, they
Them
were
devil dogs.
That was piercing. Just, yeah. So they're the things. But I said, when you lock gaze with something and you're so unsure, and I actually didn't know what the hell. Should I run? Should I?
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? I actually, I thought for a moment, shit, put it in reverse or get out. 'Cause, I was a bit panicked because it was not something that you see. God, I dodged marsupials and wombats up there every day.
Yep.
All day. It didn't matter when. They were everywhere. So.
But this wasn't one of them.
No, it's definitely not one of those. That's a definite.
So you reckon you would have seen it for 15 seconds, maybe 20 seconds?
Definitely.
Yeah. So you got a really good look at it.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see. I still remember. You could see all its fur and everything. It was that close.
Yeah. And you said you had another experience over here somewhere, not too far.
Was at Headley, so about 15k from here.
Okay.
Maybe 10k. I was actually coming back from Port Albert, and there's a long straight, and it's farmland. It's all open as well.
Yeah.
And it was actually there's an underpass, a cattle underpass. And there's a couple of water tanks on the opposite, so on that side of the road, because I was coming back, and it ran from. So I'm driving that way. So it ran from right to left. Across the road, and it went down. You had to go through some tea tree.
Yeah.
There's a tea tree ridge, scrubby there, and then into the paddock. And I actually stopped the car and got out, and I'm running around like a twat, just looking for any kind of movement in the bush. But I waited for a little while, and nothing came out, because it would have been into open farmland had it come out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it must have just scooted up, or it was watching me, or whatever it was. I don't know what it was, but it certainly had that look.
Okay.
And being that I'd seen that stride, the way it moved,
that's what caught your attention.
That's what got me.
That weird gait.
Yeah.
And how long ago was the second sighting?
It would be two years ago.
Oh, so not long ago.
2.5 years ago. Yeah.
That was during the day as well?
During the day, but that was more late afternoonish.
Okay. Yeah.
And still on a warm day, because it was sunny. It was really sunny.
Yeah. So you got how close to that one did you get, you reckon? 50 meters or something?
Yeah, that was away.
Yeah.
It wasn't another close up like the first one, but yeah.
But by the time it got up next to it,
it was off and down into the
no man's land.
Yeah, into the, what are they called?
Tea tree thicket.
Them things.
Yeah.
So yeah.
There's a lot of tea tree around here. It's very swampy.
There is.
So it's perfect habitat for them. They call them swamp dogs in WA.
Do they?
The black fellas do.
Right.
And that's because they love living in those wetland areas, and they get in the tea tree thickets, and that's where they build their nests and hide and breed and leave their young ones while they go out and play around, do what they got to do.
See, the thing with the one at Childers is that's farm country. It's sheep country.
Yeah.
you know, there's so many lambs every year.
Oh yeah.
And like I said to you, I was killing goats that had nothing after they'd finished in the dairy industry. I was taking them into the bush.
Yep.
And had I known anything about tigers back then,
You're probably luring them in.
I would have been curious enough to have a look at the carcasses better than I did.
Yeah.
Because like I never took a goat to the same place, but you know, I'd come back on the way and
Check on it.
and yeah, well, sometimes I didn't have the heart to undo the rope, and I'd just come back quickly, and then I'd get the rope, you know, the next time I went up and bring the rope back because I'd tie 'em to a tree. So it was pretty
Yep.
ghastly shit that you had to do.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, so I was probably, and that's what and when it happened, and I thought about it for months after, and I thought about that, and I thought, you know, they're probably, if they are out there, they might be watching me when I do take the goats over. Or they at least, because I did that for a couple of years.
Yep.
I killed a lot of goats, unfortunately.
Part of the job.
Well, and then it's illegal too to put them in the forest, but anyway.
Yeah.
But it was, yeah, but they were certainly being demolished. I have no, I maybe think dingoes were getting them, but you know, after that happened, I used to think, wow, maybe they're watching me, maybe he knew me, that's why he didn't run away.
Maybe.
You know, just silly things that your brain does.
Yeah. Yeah, well, a lot of farms have what they call the animal dump, where
Yes.
they take all their
They do.
stillborns and all the rest of it. So it's no surprise that things might be hanging around when you've got that sort of situation occurring. All
Definitely.
that blood and offal, and they love that offal. They want those blood-filled organs.
Well, we used to kill everything, it was a catch and kill situation because of the goat industry. There's a couple of diseases.
Yep. We have to knock them off.
Well, no, you have to catch before they hit the ground. Feces, transmission of these diseases.
Oh,
So you've
okay.
actually got to be there, catch. So it was the girls, of course, we got them dried up and cleaned up, but the boys, it was catch and kill. So we caught them and killed them instantly. And if you'd had a few does go overnight, then I'd just take them over the bush and dump them as well. So
Yep.
it's kind of a steady supply in some ways of food.
They'll take fresh carrion or fresh roadkill. They don't mind.
Yeah.
I've got a few sightings
Right.
of them eating fresh roadkill.
Oh, there's plenty of that up there for sure.
There's not a lot of belief in that in the academic world because they didn't think that they ate, like they'd scavenge. But from my experience with what I've found out from talking to people like yourself is they definitely eat fresh roadkill.
Right.
They'll opportunistically take something. It's like take away food for a predator.
That's
So,
right.
yeah.
There you go.
Well, that's awesome. Thanks very much. for
No
your
wackles
time
at all,
and
lad.
your hospitality.
No problemo.
Awesome. Cheers, Tracey.
No.